Well, this is another episode. And no, this is not an old episode. Um, I know the last one, it was a lot more together than this. But, as you could see, in here, I still have not received the new ECM TCM. I believe they said they shipped it either Thursday or Friday. So it obviously didn't get here before the weekend. So while I was waiting, I figured I would tackle my clearance issues a little bit. So I've got a lot of stuff removed over here. I removed the AC system and I had to pull the steering shaft again. Let me see if I can get you in here. So that's what we're looking at. I put a set, these are, the orange things in there are Hooker Blackheart manifolds. They're LT swap manifolds. They're made to give you some more clearance. And they gave me quite a bit. Quite a bit as in compared to the other ones. For a few reasons. One, the steering, it looks like I have a pretty good amount of clearance. I've talked to some other guys. They think I'll be alright. Some other LT swap guys in some groups I'm in. So I think we're going to run these. So since I had to take, in order to feed this manifold in, you have to take the, let me rephrase that. The L83 manifolds, to get in and out of here, it was 1,000 times easier with the AC compressor removed and the steering shaft removed. These may be a whole nother story. Obviously me doing this and not really having too much info to go on, I'm kind of learning the nuances for you. So if you're taking on this swap, putting those in, obviously you would do that as you were assembling the motor in here, but it's going to be, those are a lot easier to get in and out than the factory L83 manifolds are. So let's go over here. I'll kind of show you. So if you remember in previous videos, the L83 manifold, the flange came way over here, and it was almost touching the frame right here. So another good thing about going into these is, another hurdle is we gain the clearance between the frame because of the flange shape, but as you can see, it pretty much goes right down and faces the front diff. These are more catered to the two-wheel drive swap guys, not necessarily the four-wheel drive, but I can easily work with that. As you can see, there's still plenty of room up here that I can kind of come back this way with the pipe, and I've already kind of test fit the catalytic converter I'm going to run. Should fit right in here. So it'll be a little bit of a, weird curve there, but that's going to be easy to work with. I'd much rather work with that than how close it was to the frame and our steering up there. So I went ahead and fully installed these. They do come with flanges to screw onto there and a gasket, and we'll just weld the exhaust from there. I think that's gonna be the way we go. I did talk to Adams. I just want to shoot a massive shout out to Adams. They've been awesome to work with, great customer service, getting this thing kind of figured out along the way. They had to wait a little while because the pandemic has caused some steel shortages they made me an adapter. So they made an adapter that hooked here, goes into a U-joint for the front shaft. I'll show those next video. They shipped them last week. They finally got that adapter and were able to assemble everything and got those in the mail. Shipping shows Tuesday I'll get those, so we'll go ahead and test fit them next week. Make sure they're all good. I'm speaking in plural because I did also have them make me a rear steel drive shaft. So I off-road quite a bit, so I figured if I'm gonna do the front one, I might as well just have them do both. That's pretty much all we've hit. I think I've kind of shown this before. I've got the shifter mechanism. The drive shaft should sit in here, but we'll show that next video. Hopefully that bolts in and we're all good. Let's see what else. Let me go back up. So I've actually sourced a tuner. I was attempting to maybe take on the tuning myself of this, but I just, by the time it takes me to kind of get into that, start dealing with it, learning things, there's still a lot about tuning I'm not entirely familiar with. I figured it's better off just sourcing a tuner. So I've got someone who's going to remote tune with me. Once I get the ECM TCM, he'll shoot me over a first start tune. We'll do a first start. Hopefully next weekend, the weekend after. I was trying to get it this weekend, but don't have the ECM TCM. But once we get that first start going, hear this thing fire up and know that we're all good and we have no leaks, at least engine oil leaks. That's the only fluid I'm going to run through it for the first start. So once we get that, we'll start buttoning this thing up. I did also order a bunch of AC fittings. So because I covered in the last video about my clearance issue there, since I had to remove all this anyways, and without the radiator and stuff in the way, it's a lot easier to kind of work in there. I don't know if I covered in a previous video, but I did run a vacuum test again when I mounted the new AC condenser. And it was holding vacuum for 2 hours, but I left it in vacuum overnight, and it ended up losing vacuum in the low side. So I'm not really sure what happened. I don't know if it's something with the AC condenser fittings or what. That was the only thing that was changed, but I did have my braze lines on and off a couple times between there, so I don't know if maybe I tweaked something. But we'll go ahead and do a whole new custom. So I found a manifold block that will go here and just come. Whoop, that's a little loose because I've only got one bolt holding it. But I have a manifold coming. I got a set that comes this way and a set that comes that way. I don't know if I showed that very well. A set that comes this way and a set that goes back. And I've got a hodgepodge of fittings that I just kind of threw in the box or threw in the cart and shipped them. So hopefully we'll get those by next weekend, and I can work with getting the AC lines custom made. So I got some ferrules and a crimper coming, so we'll be cutting that off, reusing those to go back into the factory, and then all of that will be new. I do have a T-fitting to mount that sensor coming as well. And we'll plumb that in, and hopefully we'll get a lot more clearance there. With that coming straight out, I think we'll be good. I did find out, I posted in a couple boards. It sounds like this is just a muffler to quiet the compressor some. So when the compressor kicks on, this is sort of acts like a muffler. So I'm not really too worried about deleting that now. So I think we're good on that once I get kind of the parts to get this all made up. But I'll cover that in the next video, kind of show what it all looks like. I should get that. If I get all the parts by next weekend, I should have that done. Let's see what else. I did get my new battery. I just have not installed it yet. Hopefully, well, I should say once I get the ECM TCM, I will be putting the new battery in because that one is not holding a charge. So there's not enough power to write any tunes to it. But there will be once I get the new battery in. Actually, I had to stop the video for a second. I actually ended up getting the drive shafts in FedEx today. So this is a nice surprise. They weren't supposed to be here till Tuesday. So shout out to Adams again. There's the rear. Actually, let's go look at the front because I actually have that sitting in so we can check some clearances to make sure I did that right. So, well, let me get some light in here. So as you can see, there's the adapter they made. Nice beefy front drive shaft. Have a double, I believe that double Karen joint. Forget. You guys should know. But double joint there, which mainly was to clear my transmission cross member. If you remember the other videos. So we look good there. Not hitting the fuel lines. Plenty of clearance. Not close to the fuel lines there. I had to take that off to shift it into neutral, but not hitting the shift mechanism. This is not bolted in all the way yet. And we got plenty of clearance here for the catalytic converter. Excuse me. But yeah, we'll have to do the exhaust kind of through here. Catalytic converter. Oh, I'm sorry. The exhaust through here, catalytic converter, probably sit in here somewhere. And then we should be golden. I'm going to go ahead and put the back one on. I'm not going to fully install it because I still need to rebuild that rear diff with the 410s. Actually, I might go ahead and install that because I've been kind of debating on just changing the fluid in my front diff, leaving this on, and then just kind of that way I can drive it around a little bit. Before I switch to the 410s, just to kind of, make sure everything's, running good, get the coolant in there, make sure there's no leaks, kind of just give it like a couple mile break-in, make sure everything's good, and then drop the front diff, do the gears. I have some axles coming, which aren't here yet, so that'll give some time for those to come. I've got some Delrin bushings coming for that. I need to clean all this area out. I need to put new brakes on there, so I can kind of do that after, I've given it a couple miles of driving with the V8 to kind of get all the bugs worked out of that. And then that way, if there is some issues that I need to dig into, I could do that at the same time that I have kind of the front end and rear end tore apart. So that's kind of my plan right now. Would be, yeah, just change out the fluid. Another thing is I have a bunch of fluid for this thing. For the factory weight, that once I go to the nitros, they require a different weight, so that oil's kind of not really going to do me any good. So I might as well switch it out, run it, just hopefully get that new fluid in there to kind of clean it out a little before we tear that thing apart. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. Give you another view of this front drive shaft, because it's looking pretty good. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one.